The key thing in this record was, you know, the first record I kind of bit the bullet and I said, okay, I'm going to produce it myself. And it was more of a learning experience, and it didn't quite have the sound that I was looking for because, you know, you only know so much. You come out of school and you think that school is going to tell you what you're supposed to sound like, and it's not true.
Yeah, like they taught me to be a disc jockey.
Exactly, you know. And so I saved the money together with my father, and we basically hired Neil Kernan. And we said, you know what, we're going to get the best guy in that industry to come in and work with us. And Neil, actually it's funny because Neil had contacted me literally back in '98 to do the first record.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time we couldn't afford him. So this time we're like, yeah, it was always like in the back of my mind, yeah, I want to work with Neil.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, cha-ching, exactly. We made some cha-ching from the first record, and so we used that to pay for this one. And we basically talked to Neil and basically put it together. And Neil was like, he was such a fan of the music, which was actually really cool. So he basically, you know, came down to Florida and worked with us tracking Diana. And then I went to Chicago to where he works at this place called Rax Tracks, and we did all the mix down there together. Mm-hmm. And then he sent it off to Alan Douches, who's in New York. He did the mastering. You know, he mastered Sepultura, Mastodon, Converge.
West Side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, West Side Music, which great mastering. You know, he's got a great mix of using analog and digital and just really beefing the tones up. You know, so and that's kind of what we wanted because, you know, a lot of metal albums are really processed and like perfect. You know, I mean, I don't want to dog it. I think Andy Sneap is incredible with what he does. But to me, it's almost like too perfect.
Too antiseptic almost.
Yeah, I'd like to have a little bit of grit in there because of being influenced by older stuff like, you know, Holsworth and McLaughlin and UK and all that kind of old prog
more
fusion.
like an organic feel.
Yeah, more older stuff from the
Natural.
70s, you know? I mean, you listen to Intermounting Flame with Billy Cobham, and it's just incredible. I mean, that's like pure, unadulterated, you know, shred, but back then.
Look at the little sparkles in his eyes when he talks about these guys.
Literally. But yeah, I mean, so and Neil worked on the Mahavishnu records. So it was like, oh my God, we have to get Neil.
We're not worthy.
We're not worthy. Well, no, it's funny. I was doing some solos, and Neil looks at me. He's like, "Oh, it sounds like Lynch and the Dokken records." And I'm going, "Oh man," you know. And I'm getting goosebumps.
Stop that! Stop.
Yeah, and he was like, and then all of a sudden we'd be recording, and then he'd go into stories about how he recorded George Lynch on the Lynch Mob record, and how he had to redo the vocals for Ani, the singer, and all these things. And it's like you're sitting in the room with the encyclopedia of metal and prog music. I mean, he did Brand X with Phil Collins on drums. I mean,
Back in the day.
Back in the day, you know, plus Hall & Oates, Peter Gabriel, David Bowie. I was like, that's the guy to work with. You know, because he really understands the whole like full circleness about Aghora, which really is all those different styles of music. He really understood it. So
Did everybody find him as easy to work with? I mean, did you like have a hard time with the guy?
Mainly it was Diana working with him.
I didn't get to work with him.
Well, you met
No?
him. You got to meet him.
I said, hi, how you doing? And
Very cool guy, though. Very cool.
Yeah, he was
Actually,
extremely nice.
Very knowledgeable.
He offered to record Alan, but then he said to me, I figured it'd be better if Alan worked with you because he'd be more comfortable with you. And with me, he'd be nervous.
weren't we done by the time he came down?
No, you were recording at night.
Okay.
After she was doing stuff.
I think we had already started.
I think you had finished like one.
So he went ahead and let Santiago finish tracking my basses the way we were comfortable.
Right.
Well,
Because that's important in music.
oh, of course, you have to be
Comfortable.
totally comfortable.
Absolutely.
And this record was all about that. It was like just letting go and, you know, allowing it to flow.
Let the metal flow.
Well, Diane, is this the first time you've done anything like this?
Yeah, pretty much. An album like this, yeah. I had recorded a couple songs and a demo, but it was all classical music. That was before joining the band. And, but no, this is the first time that I've done this, yeah.
How you like being in the boys' club? Because come on, metal is pretty much a boys' club for the most part.
Sausage fest.
Oh,
It's great.
Bow to me faithful.
It's great. It's a lot of fun, you know.
So how excited are we about some of these prospects we have on the horizon? You get the album out and all this. I mean, I think I emailed you and you're like, yeah, man, we'll come down next week. And the next thing on MySpace is, by the way, we're going to Europe.
Yeah, finally.
So how does that happen? Does your tape just wind up somewhere, or
Yeah, actually.
Yeah,
friend of a friend gives you a call and, dude, we got a space,
actually,
you know?
The way it happened was I had contacted Glenn for Prog Power in the U.S. and he said this was like a year ago, and he said, oh, maybe next year or whatever, kind of whatever. And
Because a lot of people at labels will do that.
Yeah,
And
I mean, he's
management.
not that guy though.
We'll get back to you.
Right. And it's true. I mean, Aghora's always been like an independent thing. Nobody really knows about it. It's still kind of untapped, And Prog Power Europe contacted me and said, hey, we've heard a lot about you guys, and would you be interested in maybe doing, the Europe dates? And I said,
And there was a long
sure.
pause on the phone.
Yeah, my
Like,
first,
are you serious?
My first thing was like, well, shoot, how are we gonna get over there? Because it costs money to get over there. And I said, well, what is it? Will you guys cover the plane tickets and stuff? They're like, no, we don't do any of that, but we do give you, a hotel room, 3 nights for the whole band, and food, room and board. Plus, we promote you, and you can sell merch. And then they're like, plus, we'll give you a couple gigs in surrounding cities to help
cool.
cover your costs.
Yeah.
So I said, sure. I said, you know what, we'll do it. And then
You
they're
gotta
like-
do it.
They're like, well, all we need to do is hear your CD. So I told them, well, we're not done with it yet. This is at the time it wasn't out yet.
Right.
And so when it was out, we had posted that one song on MySpace, and literally like the next day, Renee over there contacted me. He's like, yeah, you guys are in.
Done.
And I was like, all right. So then I sent him a disc, and he's like, done. He was like, definitely confirmed. So that's definitely happening.
So are we all excited about this? Who's been to Europe?
I've never been there.
Okay, there we go.
Who just got his passport today?
The first time in his life.
Applied.
Well, you got some time. It's in October, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
6
Prague
and 7.
Power.
6 and 7.
Yep.
It's gonna
And
be sweet.
I've been to Canada.
Yeah, me
it's kind
too.
of like a Europe thing.
It's kind of like the South, really, just cold, but.
That's funny. And there's some festivals coming up too. There's a festival in Georgia,
Mhm.
Albany, Georgia, I guess. Aghora, I don't know what it's called.
Well, when you get to Albany, the Southerners there call it Albany.
Sawega Fest.
Oh,
I'm from
Sawega.
Atlanta. I went to school around
Oh,
there.
okay, so you know. Yeah.
Albany.
And then there's Mad Fest in Texas, which they called us today. That's still in the works. There's apparently a band that can't get their visas from Brazil, so if they don't get their visas, we're on board, and they actually seem to be really cool, so we're looking forward to that.
So things are looking up.
Yeah, there's a couple shows coming up too that are...
Locally?
Yeah, there's going to be an atheist show here in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
Holdsworth.
Alan Holsworth, we're doing 2
Sweet.
dates with him, he's my hero, so that's like...
He's amazing. Yeah.
He's my favorite guitarist.
Yeah, he's my favorite musician, period. And then we're supposed to be doing this tour with Atheist in Mexico, so there's definitely things looking up on the horizon a little bit.
MySpace hits are going up, I'm noticing.
MySpace
yeah.
is going up big time, man. We went from like 1,000 before the record came out to like we're almost at 5,000. It's
Yeah.
like 4,000 something. So it's moving around.
It's getting there.
It's getting there.
Life is
On
good.
the Aghora website, we're almost at 100,000.
100,000 hits, yeah.
100,000
It's getting
hits.
crazy.
Wanted to add to that. We made some great connections at the NAMM show in LA
Yeah, how was that?
Oh, wow.
a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
That's
We
really
were
good.
talking
That's
before the
musical
interview about
mecca.
everybody, not just metalheads. Stevie Wonder's there and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
everybody.
Everybody.
I ran into what was his name? Not Shaq. The other guy. Sinbad. I
Yeah?
ran into Sinbad.
Shaq Sinbad. Okay.
Well, I called him Shaq. I felt so bad. And he looked at me with his face. He was like, I'm Sinbad, man. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. My bad.
It's a party. I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't slept. I've been drinking Heineken all night.